Okay, first up here in terms of guests on Startup Daily. A new rideshare app is set to launch in Australia, but this one is all about carpooling. Ready Ride allows commuters to connect with drivers to occupy a seat on a set journey as opposed to an on-demand app like Uber. To tell us more about the launch is founder Sharon Wilkins, who joins us now via Skype. Hi Sharon, welcome to Startup Daily.
Hello, how are you?
Well.
Great to have you on the show, Sharon. So just tell us about Ready Ride and how it works and how it is different to the likes of Uber and their ride sharing.
Well, I'm glad you asked that question because there has been a bit of confusion from some that confuse it with a rideshare app, and it's nothing to do with rideshare. These are drivers that are just going about their normal business, like you or me, going to work or going to an auntie's house or going to the beach. That is going to be travelling that route anyway. So all we're doing now is we're sharing our cars, and we've created an app that brings the driver and the passenger together so it's easy and simple to use. That's how we see it.
And so your drivers, not professional drivers, they could just be doing this route once per day, for example. Run us through the pricing model. Where do people pay a fee here?
Okay, so let's use an example that we've used on the virtual fundraising platform. It's an 8.81 kilometre journey. We just use this as our base example. An average rideshare cost would be about $16.64 to a passenger. With a Ready Ride passenger, it would only be $3.89. The driver gets $3.33 of that, and Ready Ride gets 56 cents.
Okay, so I'm going to save money. This sounds good, but as someone who watched the whole Uber thing happen and the states freak out, the taxi industry freak out, and then we had to have massive legislative changes to deal with the ride-sharing industry coming to this country, how do you fit in from a regulatory point of view in terms of a driver picking up a couple of passengers, going from A to B and dropping them off somewhere and getting some money out of it?
That is an excellent question. Look, our business model is unique and we are breaking new ground, so it does make it a little bit more difficult to navigate. And like Uber, because they are breaking new territory, we don't necessarily fit into a special category, but we are not rideshare, we are carpooling. So all I can tell you is that our business model at the time of commercial launch will be fully compliant with all tax and other laws in the country.
Okay.
Now, can you just tell us about the plans for the rollout? I understand that it's starting in Perth, is that right?
Correct. We want to try here in Perth because Perth has a lesser population than, say, the eastern states. And it's a really good way of testing the market here. We find that people in Perth are very passionate about congestion, reducing their carbon emissions. And we thought if we can launch it in Perth, see how it goes, and we're pretty confident it's going to do very, very well. We want to then roll it out into the other states. And I mean, in Sydney, Melbourne, there's tolls, which we don't have here in Perth. But the tolls, can you imagine that's just another extra added cost to the drivers that are going about their normal business. So I think it's going to help everybody. It's a great way of everybody to doing their bit, from the investor to the driver to the passenger. Everybody will make a difference, even if, like you said before, just once a week you just took one person in your car on one journey that you will take anyway. Can you imagine the amount of traffic you'll cut down on and the carbon emissions that you'll save? And we have a little envirometer, special little option into our app that tracks how much carbon emissions you save and fuel on each journey for both passenger and driver. We're pretty excited about that because there's some bragging going on there, because eventually, you can at least say, look, I saved this amount of emission, this amount of fuel, and I'm doing my bit. So everybody can really feel good about themselves. It's not just about saving money, it's about so many other things, and the environmental benefits are huge.
Sharon, over here on the other side of the island, we also have transit lanes where, there's a form of encouragement for ride sharing, and that you can drive in the lane if you've got 2 or 3 passengers in the car. Do you see your market as those sorts of morning commuters? I'm going to be driving my car, say, from Manly into Sydney CBD. I could jump in that lane if I've got the extra passengers, same from the eastern suburbs. Is it that sort of thing? So I'm a creature of habit and people sort of jump in as part of my habits?
Absolutely. Look, there's so many opportunities and challenges coming our way. We are wanting to anticipate special car parking bays, lanes. I mean, these are all things that have to be nutted out down in the future. But we are thinking big, and we want to make it as easy as possible for our drivers and as easy as possible for other commuters, passengers getting around. It's as simple as that.
Now, Sharon, tell us about the virtual campaign. How much are you looking to raise, and how are you planning to use the funds?
Great question. Okay, we're loving the virtual platform. We're in the expressions of interest stage at the moment, so obviously we're looking for investors to come on board in a startup company at the early stages. So obviously head to virtual.com.au or readyride.com.au. But basically we're looking for a minimum of 200,000 up to 1.5 million. In order for us to launch in Perth in February, we would like to be able to set up a customer service operations centre and also market heavily to get our drivers on our driver database.
All right, Sharon, I'm really interested as a founder, what led you down this path? Why did you choose ReadyRide as your startup?
That's very interesting. Well, you know what? I think all of us, including you, everybody out there, we've all thought of it. I think carpooling is not a new idea. It's the app platform that we have that is unique. So we've all thought, this is ridiculous. There's 90% of the cars on the road is just, solo drivers. And that's how I was thinking of it. I was on a freeway, jammed in traffic, getting frustrated and looking around and going, wow, so many people on their way to work, all in, just driverless car, just one person cars. So there's definitely a need, and we have a problem. We have congestion on the roads. We have time wasted, and our time is precious. And since COVID, it's brought out that we want to have this sort of work-life balance. We're not working in the city, maybe not working in the office as much. We're working at home more. So this is just another transport option that we are offering to commuters. There's, public transport, there's still a need for that, and we're not replacing rideshare. We're coexisting with them and public transport and the running of cost of your own car. Now, I don't know if you're aware, but the cost of an average car, running a car every year, is about $6,500. It'll probably be more in Sydney and Melbourne because of the tolls, but just as an average approximate, that's a lot of money. So if we can offset some of those costs, plus reduce congestion, plus reduce our carbon footprint, why wouldn't you do it? I mean, it's been on the news for a whole week, how they're looking at bringing in congestion tax and things like that. Well, we've got ReadyRide. Here's a way forward of solving some of those problems.
And Sharon, how much do you think the environmental aspect appeals to the crowdfunding investor market? Are you really playing on that aspect in this campaign? Obviously, you're cutting down congestion, saving costs, but the environmental aspect is a big appeal.
Look, it is a big benefit, and it's one of three benefits. We're not an environmentally based company, but we are a company that offers environmental benefits, which, are huge. So we're excited about that we're not only can we reduce costs for both driver and passenger, but we can also help the environment and reduce our carbon footprint as a nation. I think that is the most exciting thing, that we can actually just do a little bit to make a big change.
Before we let you go, you've got a week to run on the EOI, then you've got your campaign, which I suppose will run for about 3 weeks. Let's say you ride off into the sunset with the $1 million+ dollars. When can we expect ReadyRide to hit the road and then come over to the East Coast?
Well, we're pretty excited about that, and we're pretty confident, actually. We feel that we're going to reach our targets. We've had a lot of interest and a lot of investment expressions of interest. So we're pretty confident about how things are going ahead. So look, if all goes well and we raise the capital that we're wanting, we'll be looking to launch into Perth in the first week of February. Obviously, there's Christmas and holiday breaks, and we don't want to interfere with that. But yeah, we would love to get going in February and obviously roll it out into Perth. And once it's established and working well in the same year, we would love to roll out nationally. We would love the whole of us to benefit from ReadyRide.
All right, well, we look forward to seeing you over here. Sharon Wilkins, thanks for joining us from ReadyRide. All the best with your virtual campaign.
And thank you so much for having me.